So today we're continuing with our work on line graphs before we actually move on to working with pie graphs and pie charts tomorrow. So what we're going to carry on with is looking at how line graphs work and how you can interpret data from them. Most of you did really well yesterday, so I'm sure that actually you will do extremely well on this today. So question one we've got is Ronnie and Annie watch the same channel but at different times. The graph shows the number of viewers at different times. So the graph is actually showing everybody that watched it, not just Ronnie and Annie. Ron watched Chums up to 5 p.m. and Annie watched Count Up at 8 p.m. What was the difference between the number of viewers at the start of each programme? What was the difference between the number of viewers between 6 and 8? Which time had twice as many viewers as 6? So let's work those through one question at a time. So what was the difference between the number of viewers at the start of each programme? So the start of each programme was the time that they watched it. So we need to look at the data there. So I'm going to enlarge it, just make it a little bit easier for you to see. So remember what we said about adding the additional information on each axis. So on the y-axis, we've got 300,000 here. We've got 500,000 here. So at this point here, it should be 400,000. Okay, so the start time at 5 o'clock was 400,000. If we're having a look at the 8 p.m. time, so we follow the line across. Again, obviously you would use a ruler. 500,000 there, 700,000 here. So the midpoint between the two of them would be 600,000. So we're trying to find the difference between the number of viewers at the start and the number of viewers at the end of, at the start of each of those programs. So we've got 600,000, subtract 400,000. That does look like a 6, it's not meant to be. Would obviously give you 200,000. So again, we're looking at ways of manipulating the data and using it to find additional information, not just what was it at such and such a time. So I've cleared my screen so that we can have a look more easily at the second question here. So we've got, what was the difference in the number of viewers between 6 and 8 p.m? So again, we're having a look there. We've got 6 p.m, there's 8 p.m. We already know that 8 p.m. was 600,000. Let's have a look at 6 p.m. Well, 6 p.m. was 300,000. So we've literally got 600,000, subtract 300,000. Hopefully you can all work out that is 300,000. Nice and straightforward. Now, if we then move on to the final question on this particular graph, which time had twice as many viewers as at 6 p.m? So we've got to look at 6 p.m. for a start. So we're looking for 300,000. Now, we're saying twice as many as that. So we've got 300,000. So we go up to 600,000. And then we can see where the line hits it and bring it down. So the answer for that particular question would be 8 p.m. So you're just using a lot of information and using the graph to find out detail that you wouldn't necessarily have known. Okay, so this one, we've got two families are travelling to Bridlington for their holidays. They set off at the same time but arrived at different times. What time did the family A arrive? So family A is blue. Family B is orange. So we'll do that question first. What time did family A arrive? So let's have a little look. So we're looking at the blue line. So they set off at 7:30. What time do they actually get there? Right, now this is a bit of a trick question because I'm guessing lots of you would have looked there and gone straight down there and said, oh, it was 11:30. Actually, that's incorrect because if you look at the straight line here, that is showing us that they weren't moving. So this is the time at which they actually stopped moving. So if we go back to this, what time did they stop moving? They stopped moving at 10:30. They didn't travel any more distance at all. There was their graph didn't continue going on or anything like that. All it did was it stopped and they stayed in the same place for an hour. So actually, family A arrived at 10:30. Now that one would have caught a lot of people out, so it's worth pointing that one out. Be aware and look for those little tricks. Right, How many kilometres had each family travelled at 8:45? So let's have a look. So we've got 8:45. So there's 8:30, 9:30. So that would have been, that's 9 a.m. But we're looking for 8:45. So this is a particularly tricky one because it's extra sort of gaps in the information. So if this is between 8:30 and 9 a.m., 8:45 would have been roughly in the halfway point. Okay, so we need to put a line straight up. Excuse my wobbly lines. Okay, very, very badly drawn this one. Okay, so now we can see family A, if that had been a perfectly straight line, would have been just under 40 kilometres. So let's have a look. So there's 20, there's 40. So that's gone up 20. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Okay, so 20 divided by 5, that would be 4 kilometres each. Okay, so it's gone up in steps of 4, which is a very random amount to go up. But if you look at it, so 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. It does work, so trust your instincts. So at what point does that line meet? It actually meets at 36. So family A travelled 36 kilometres. Oops, not 3, 36. Family B, however, at what point did they actually, or how far had they travelled at 8:45? So we follow the line up, and again, my straight line drawing on this is not particularly accurate, but you're going at about 24, 25. So I'm going to go for, let's settle on 24 kilometres. Now, if I had a ruler and it was more accurate, then I could be, make sure it was absolutely spot on. But you can see what I'm trying to aim for. Okay, so the next question, which family stopped midway in their journey? So if we go back to what we did, we said that family A had stopped there, and we knew that because the line was straight. We're looking at family B here. We've got another stop here. We've got a stop. They didn't travel anywhere, and then all of a sudden they started moving again. So it was family B that had a stop midway. They had a break, probably somewhere, had something to eat, and then they pushed on and did the rest of their journey later on. Okay, so how much further had they left to travel? So at this point here, when they stopped, how much further did they have to go? So what we're looking for is this distance here, because that's how much they had to go. So we've got to read off from here and read off from here. So we know it was 100 kilometres in total. How much had they done? Well, that's about halfway, so that's going to be 50 kilometres at that point. So that family had another 50 kilometres to go. So they were actually only halfway when they stopped, literally. Okay, so this is another one like the stories that you had a look at yesterday. And so what could it be showing? Now, to me, that probably shows money in a savings account. Okay, so it could be showing money. Okay, so this would be maybe days, and this could be showing pounds. And it could be showing that the orange person has managed to save a bit more, okay, and actually kept it in their savings account a little bit longer. The blue person has it a bit more staggered, but actually had a rapid drop down at the end because they purchased something. There's lots and lots of different ways you could interpret it, but it's, again, looking at what the information is showing you and thinking about how it would be best served with labelling and putting the correct information on the axes. Okay, so this one we're looking at Mr. Woolley's journeys. So he's done 3 journeys over a period of time, but actually they're different. So we've just been asked to look at what is the same and what is different. Well, what is the same? They all start from the same point. They start from 0. Okay. What is different, however, is this one, he travels further. The red one, he travels much further than the blue. Oops. Okay, the blue one, you see, it's the longest time-wise, because it actually carries on, but it is the shortest distance-wise. So maybe on the red journey, he was travelling on a fast road. Now, if we look at the green journey, he's travelling even faster, but he stops. So he has a stop. So maybe he's travelled on a long distance road and he's stopped for lunch or stopped for coffee or something, and then he pushes on. Okay, so he travels overall much further, but he does have a break.